Welcome back once again, my wonderful tome readers. Today we are back in Of the Devil, continuing Chapter 1, which, as you can see here, comes with a new menu screen as well. Very, very nice atmosphere to it. More of the very interesting smoke design they have for whenever she's smoking. But more importantly than that, we are picking up from last time, where we meet our new, I guess, goddaughter of sorts. Because, yeah, she's a warm android, and thus, I'm sure, in legal terms, this universe, a thing to own rather than a child. So let's be honest, we don't need a cyberpunk dystopia for people to treat their children as things to control. But more importantly, it was the loss of a good friend that brought her to our legal protection, ownership, household, however you want to call it. And that is, if nothing else, pretty much how being a godparent works. I mean, we're agreeing to go out, pick her up, I guess the day after her creator, father, we'll see how she feels about that, has unfortunately passed. It's going to be interesting meeting her. Because I know what she is. I know what's likely to come in the next few moments of her awakening existence. Because it's fucking Ace Attorney game, but we're a literal criminal defense attorney. So yeah. So I hope we're all looking forward to this as much as I am. Before that, just to buy a little bit more time for those who that maybe haven't noticed that the stream has started yet. I do have such wonderful plans for this coming week. Today is actually the first of 4 days I have off from work. Why am I not streaming every day, you ask? Well, I have some stuff I do need to get done around the house, as well as catching up on so much sleep, because work has been a fucking nightmare lately. Though yesterday's shift was surprisingly pleasant and slow, which is strange for the middle of the week. But we took it. We took that win. We got a lot of stuff done, a lot of the weekly cleaning done, and just in time, because for whatever fucking reason, I think I've mentioned on stream before, they measure the work weeks Wednesday to Tuesday like fucking madmen. And if I have mentioned this before, then I'm going to say it again. I can understand businesses going Monday to Sunday, because you're going off like the weekdays started, or perhaps going off of Saturday to Friday, with the weekend starting it both days, rather than a Sunday to Saturday. I can get those, but the fucking multiple days, practically middle of the week starting, I don't get it. It's insanity. It feels like it's being different for the sake of being different. It's like, ugh. And the new app, good lord, our calendar system, it's a scroll down. It's not just see the week at a glance. You have to go through, and I can just barely fit 6 days on the screen at a time, because I'm not going to look at my app every time to check my schedule. I take screenshots, which means I need multiple screenshots for a full 7 days. It's insanity, like I said. But yeah, we are really going through it right now, and I can only assume how much worse it's going to be if Oompa Loompa in charge does force through tariffs, because good lord, there's no way everything we sell is getting made locally. Majority of the food and the drinks, sure. But gas prices, oof, they're bad enough as they are right now. There's no way we're getting majority of our product, majority of our diesel and gasoline from the States. There's just no way. Not the prices we have without the threat of the tariffs. And then there's the longer lasting things like the soda syrup. Like, those things last months. I could totally see that being made out of the country, even if it's just like other side of the border in Mexico or Canada. I like calling it Canadian, it's more fun. The various clothings we have, which are cheap as hell and not all that variety, that's probably going to go up too with these tariffs. What else do we have? The seasonal things, like, because we're not just a gas station, we're a travel stop, which means we have, like, an entire aisle of just, like, toys and souvenir type things, magnets, can openers, that kind of stuff. Those are probably going to go up too, because I'm sure a majority of that is not made with the continental U.S. Fuck. So yeah, fun times ahead. Lord knows everything else already being pushed through because Republicans refuse to have a moral backbone. They will sell it out for even just pennies on the dollar, as we are seeing now. Yeah. I think the mood is sufficiently set. Time bought for anyone who was wanting to see this from the beginning, because we're definitely at the point of spoiler territory. People who would want to play this game completely blind, I can understand it. We're like a couple hours into Chapter 1, and Chapter 0 had a lot of content, so this is probably going to have a lot more content. So let's hop right back in. I'm going to start here, because I don't think... Okay, no, they're both the same. Oh, let me adjust that volume down a little bit. For me and you guys. Okay, so... a reminder, we just solved a puzzle to get into the vault, where the thing he left to us, but did not describe for his secretary to hand over to us, was being kept. And the passcode was hidden in the description of, what was it? Is it evidence? No, I didn't think so. Search terms, maybe. Aha, big blue painting. It was hidden in the date that a particular mural he has was defaced by its own artist, which was an interesting way to do the code. And yeah, we've opened the vault and discovered a warm android. Their barcode visible for the world to see. And apparently unconscious currently. Morgan, you seem surprised, Jess. Hasn't Noble been working on warm androids like this one for a few years now? Warm androids like this one? I mean, yes, we have. Sorry, it's just that this particular model is very, it's very cutting edge. Bleeding edge, judging by the flush in those cheeks. I think it's safe to say that we found out what we're looking for. I think so too. That presents a problem then. Oh, do you not approve? I've got nothing against androids. My concern is a bit more immediate and, well, practical. Practical? I don't know how to turn it on. Do you see a switch or something? Do you? Can we turn it around, or poke the android's ribs? A little less give than I expected, given its frame, but rigidity's remarkably lifelike. I place my hand on the shoulder and give it a shake, but it doesn't budge. This thing has to weigh more than... Right. Androids mostly transport themselves, so they're always surprised to find out they're heavier than they look. A bit. I'm surprised the whole room isn't slanted. There's no way in hell we're moving this thing without waking it up. Crap. Well, first the vault, now this. I was able to guess the combination just by poking around. Compared to that, finding this hunk of junk's power switch should be child's play. I think I know where to start. Chess, on Gonna step back in the lab for just a moment, alright? Huh? Oh, sure, I'll, There's gotta be a manual around here. Good idea. It might be some kind of prototype, but it's still got a barcode. Maybe you can scan its GIN number and find something with company files? One sec. I'm looking that up. I know it's going to be similar. Okay, generic identification number. Got it. Government's passed laws mandating that all ads, or androids, whether they be physical or holographic, clearly identifies themselves as such to counteract rampant disinformation and identity theft campaigns. Manufacturers responded by stamping the GIN code onto android bodies, most commonly on the cheek, above the collarbone, on the back of the hand. Some companies placed the GIN on the wrist, but this quickly incurred backlash. For those of you who don't know enough history to get why there might be some backlash about that, that is literally how the concentration camps in Nazi-era Germany kept track of the victims. They tattooed a VIN code on their wrist, and the system they had was not, like, false. It legitimately kept track of people and where they were being moved to and all that. So it wasn't just for show, it was actually tracking them, so putting that on ads certainly would make things uncomfortable. Concerns about automated dependents impersonating humans have dropped precipitously since then, and the GIN has instead taken on new life as a cultural icon, as powerful and easily recognizable as any corporation's logo. Fake GIN barcodes, or fins, are one of the most commonly requested tattoos. The vast majority of reputable parlors will draw a line through the barcode once finished, to avoid breaking identity law, though there are some clients who care little about the consequences. MMA fighter Somli Paka infamously sports a GIN tattoo across her right knuckles, and makes a show of signing a check to pay the fine for displaying a false GIN on international broadcast every time he enters the ring. That's interesting. Legitimate concern in the cyberpunk dystopia with androids being marked like that, to have a fine for it and all. But I was just thinking, the stupidity of what you could do with a barcode. Much less than you could do with a QR code tattoo. But I'm certain there's a way to have the quote-unquote translation of a barcode to still, refer to something stupid or insulting. Like people who get Japanese or Chinese symbols and think it refers to one word or phrase and be absolutely incorrect. So I do kind of like and am wary of this hypothetical future with this interpretation, where it's a fine to potentially be mistaken for an android. Of course, scan the GIN code. All generic ID numbers should be paired with industry-standard files on maintenance, tracking, power requirements. I somehow doubt that the enigmatic android, taking a cat nap in a sarcophagus in David Ashur's basement, will have a user manual, but it can't hurt for her to try, and... Nope. That was a noise. I'm okay. Broke a heel, but I'm okay. I carry glue. Jesus, the future can't make heels that have sturdier heels, I guess. Whatever. And I'd rather search the lab by myself. Now then, if I were David, I want to make sure that only one person will be able to walk out of here with that android. How would I set that up? Okay, let's see all the options we have. Really? Man, I was hoping we'd be able to, open that and there's, hidden drinks or something. Inspect that machinery. Not the ceiling. Not these windows, I think. We've got this personnel tube, or giant android charger, perhaps. These. Okay, we'll start with examining this. Diagrams of human anatomy. The hands are highlighted. The most developed part of the human body. Good for making stone axes and sending emails. Robots and frames can do just fine with claws or 3-digit imitations. But androids are expected to look like people, and move like them too. Getting the hands right must be a big priority at Noble. The tree-like shape on the right is a neuron. Those branches receive input of varying weight, and then if the sum is greater than a certain threshold, the neuron fires. A 0 becomes a 1, and all the other zeros around it take that into consideration. Repeat that a couple billion times a second, and you've got the human brain. Computer powerful enough to simulate all of reality. That's the analogy I read in a magazine, anyway. It's interesting. Neurons, and I don't think any new terms popped up for that. This, I assume, is the charger for her. Haven't seen one since college, but this must be a 3D printer. Oh. I was going to say you'd expect them to somehow make them smaller in the future, but they're also working on literally human-sized figures, so I get it. So, of some sort. Feels expensive enough to make other printers look like soda fountains by comparison. Better not mess with any of the settings. Interesting. So wait, maybe we will have to print something off. Because this is pointing at hands. And the exact text she told us feels like it's going to be, like, obviously we're going to have to use it. Just because she was afraid of having to do it. Next, let's inspect this shit. These appear to be holding tanks for something. How should I know? No labels on anything. Typical for a genius. But a nightmare for anyone trying to pick up after him. There's a lot more hard science than I expected here. Centrifuges and glass and microscopes. Do programmers do all their work with a keyboard? Speaking of, let's boot them up. Looks like a fairly normal computer. If I'm lucky, the security will be fairly normal as well. Boot up complete. Username? Vocal commands. David Ashur? Morgan? Guest? Thank you for logging in as guest. Didn't recognize my voice. So I can probably rule out a vocal command being the key to wake the android. Do you have a question? More than one? For now, though, what should I search for on his computer? I mean, it's a little narcissistic, but might as well. What have we got on Morgan, the guest login? Search files for Morgan. 23 results on the local drive. I can work with that. Mostly phone book and social data. I don't recognize this file type. Some kind of personnel format? Date of birth, education, occupation, blood type, height and weight. Alright, buddy. Little invasive, don't you think? DNA and fingerprints. Now, why do you have that, David? My DNA isn't in any database. I've made sure of that. So he couldn't have bought this anywhere. He must have collected himself from a wine glass or the like. Would have been easy to do. Why do it? Alright, I'm starting to get a pretty clear picture of what it'll take to turn on this android. Got the what, the where, and how. I actually wanted to know that other stuff. I'll just have to major. Okay, one sec. We're going to save over this one, because I think those are just doubles of the same thing. And we are going to load this one, and just kind of go through it, because I want to see what else is on the computer. I'm sure it's nothing, we got the right thing first time, but I'm curious if we pick up any other info that might be useful for whatever's coming up. Yep, there's the broken heel. this. Just click through everything. And come on. Okay. Okay, can we earn any other chips if we do the unexpected stuff? Okay, Android. Search files for Android, 6,000 results, and counting. Yeah, okay. Dave would have a lot of files on Androids. Search more than that. Basement. Search files for basement. 812 results in bulk drive. Finding how he renovated his basement. Could take all day. Okay. Just had to know. There might have been more pertinent, like, terms that pop up or something. I'll just have to manage with what I've got. It's still just a piece of machinery. It really won't turn on. I can always try hitting it. Morgan, there you are. I've looked in every register I could find and every database I could get into, but I don't think this android is in the system. It was a long shot, so don't beat yourself up over it. Yes, but an android without the proper identification is... It's only buying or selling an android without proper identification that's illegal. And it doesn't seem like he ordered this online. I guess you're right, huh? We'll have to register it soon enough, anyway. I think I figured out what we need to do here. Oh? David really wanted me to have this. He would have left some way for me to turn it on. What are you thinking? David had my fingerprints and my DNA on file. By requiring both, he could be reasonably sure no one was powering up this android without my approval. You've done a swab before, haven't you? Every month for the company. Apparently they're building a database on employee epigenetics, cross-reference. Ooh. Don't like that. Oh, so you're gonna... My DNA and my fingerprint might be the key. Now, where to find the lock? Let's see. I assume fingerprints would be the hand. Right? Yeah, because he wouldn't make it, so we have to partially undress her. It looks like she's in a turtleneck. So we'll go with the hand. At the very least, fingerprints. Was that diagram back in his shop? Was it meant to be a literal handshake verification? Oh, thought that would work. Me too. Alright, and then next would be lips. Lips are one of the most sensitive parts of the body. Not the worst place to make a scan. Even if it is gross, place my finger there. Oh, that's still not doing it, huh? Come on, do I really need to push my finger deeper? Jiggle the key? Man, you went right in there. Are you touching the tongue? It's blinking at me. Jeez. Robot goddaughter jump scare. Okay, that's cute. Good woman. Good morning to you too. Oh, I'm not sure if I accidentally skipped something. 1 sec. Okay, no. Cute. Hello. I've never seen you two before. I guess we should introduce ourselves then. Hi. This is Jessica Starling. She works for Dr. Ashur. I'm Morgan, a friend of his. Got all that? I understand. She is Jessica Starling. You are Morgan, last name unknown? No, Morgan is my last... Father told me about you. Oh, he did? Wait. Father? David. You had it call you Daddy? I I am referring to Dr. David Ashur. Are you confused? That's not the word I would use. I'll throw a bone beyond the grave for the good doctor and just move this along. Did David say that he was giving you to me? Transferring ownership. Ownership? That is correct. And what else did mostly correct? Right. And what else did he tell you? Many things. Can you specify? I thought conversation was the first thing David figured out how to program. Did Dr. Ashur tell you anything that he wanted you to convey to Morgan? A message you were supposed to pass on? Yes. Morgan's ears only, I'm afraid. I think it's trying to... Oh, okay. Sure, I'll give you two... I'll give you some privacy, Morgan. I've actually gotten about 14 messages in the last 2 minutes, so... I'll just head back up to the lab, take some calls, okay? Thanks, Jess. Yes, thank you, Jess. You're welcome. Just the two of us now. So, what do I call you? My name is Serra. It's nice to meet you, Morgan. Trust me, the pleasure's all mine. So, what's the message? Father told me that I would be living with you from now on. And he told me that you would look after me. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Should it? How is this life like? With warmth and breath, something close to blood in its veins. Just what are you anyway, Serra? You forgot my name. Oh. I guess I shouldn't have ad-libbed that. You forgot my name already. It's Serra. What were you built for? You're warm, obviously. You're not one of those physical therapy models, are you? That would be highly illegal. I haven't completed 500 hours of study at a state-approved massage therapy school. I haven't even completed 1 hour. What purpose did Dr. Ashur design you for? I don't know the answer to that question. You don't know why he built you? No. Should I? How can you not? Do you? Would I be asking you if I did? I meant, do you know why you were created? Why you were born? Why? Why me? Why would you? Why are you doing this? You're for a freak! A monster! What the hell's wrong with you? Please, don't kill me. Please, why? Why? Why was a monster like you even born? I walked into that one. It's almost like someone never saw the movie, I, Robot. That was it. I almost said a different one that is not connected to the line I'm thinking of. I was starting to wonder if you even had the Turing solution. Reminder of that. Let's see, postgrad. And for supposedly being the answer to all past, present, and future Turing tests. True to its name, David Ashur's base code has yet to fail any Turing test. A test designed to determine if given answers come from a human or machine applied to it with a success rate below 99.97%. A number of think tanks, charities, and corporations hold bounties for designing new Turing tests for for the sole purpose of running them against David Ashur's work, though none have announced the awarding of any prize money thus far. Oh, that's... I'm not sure if it is intended as such or not, but I think this is a reference to James Randi, a stage magician who later on went disproving hacks and supposedly miracle workers who were scamming people, trying to claim they had actual legitimate abilities. The kind of snake oil salesman who, do a traveling show just curing people of ailments like some second coming of Jesus, framing as a religious thing, and, all the people they quote-unquote cured were those who were paid to go along with the act, pretend to have these maladies, so that they could be cured on stage, suddenly being able to walk or see. And he, at one point, put out a contest with a massive money prize for anyone who can prove that they do, in fact, have supernatural abilities, including people who claim they can predict the future, like in detail, not the general, vague, horoscopy way of such and such thing will happen in the near future. No. You can predict days and specific details of what will happen. And wouldn't you know it, some of the most famous psychics were unable to take up the challenge. They declined abusing their abilities for such stupidity and profit. Okay. Father's framework for programming linguistics in artificial systems, and the body of work for which he first gained international recognition. Yeah. International jealous. Do you have an answer to my question? An answer as to why you were created? Why you exist? Occam's razor. I'm here because my parents wanted me. I see. Then I will give a similar answer. I was created because Father wanted to make me. Can't argue with that logic, can I? Can't argue with that logic. Father did say that you're a lawyer. Yeah, that's me. You're a lawyer, and I defeated you with logic. World-class, high-power attorney, the best defense money can buy. So, do you catch criminals? Oh, and she's going all starry-eyed. It's like, a celebrity. That's what cops do. Do you litigate criminals? That's what prosecutors do. Then do you fight for the underrepresented? Expose justice? Sue corrupt corporations and officials? I don't think anyone does that anymore. Then what do you do? I'm a criminal defense attorney. Defender of the innocent and powerless. Uh-huh. Do you also... Now that you know all about me, what can you tell me about yourself? I've never had to do that before. First time for everything. How old are you? I'm not sure I can give a satisfactory answer. On answering simple questions. What's the date on your earliest memory? 2 years ago. And where were you constructed or assembled or whatever? What's the facility? I was not constructed at any facility. Father created me. Here. By himself. Just what we needed. The male version of Mother Mary, with Immaculate Conception built right in. That's a dumb joke. Don't flame me over the coals for it. You're saying if I took you apart, I wouldn't be able to find any markers from any manufacturers? Any ideas of any designer? You want to take me apart? Dave was a programmer, not an engineer. How could he build a custom android from scratch in the comfort of his own home? He couldn't have. He must have had help, probably a whole department's worth. If I ask around, there's gotta be someone in the company who can ID this thing and help me figure out what's so important about it. You don't look like any android I've ever seen. What are you made of? This body is comprised of organic tissues integrated directly into cybernetic systems. They require organic nourishment, including water, carbohydrates, and salt. Wait, more androids have to eat and drink? They cannot be worth that much trouble. My cybernetic systems operate largely as analogs of their equivalents in the human body. I have a respiratory system for oxygen exchange and a centrally located pump that circulates oxygen. You mean you've got a heart? How quaint. Where does all that extra weight come from? Pardon? I tried moving you earlier and I felt like I was pulling against a truck. My skeleton is a combination of medical-grade plastics and a military-grade titanium carbide alloy. That sure took the wind out of her sails. My muscles are made of adaptive rare earth alloy nano-B fiber, with shock absorption and kinetic chain potential rated past... Wait, did you say military grade? I have a grip strength above 1,000 kilograms. I can run at sustained speeds over 60 kilometers per hour. I can jump 6 meters vertically. I can lift approximately. I'm not sure what kind of grip strength most androids walk around with. I've never seen any of them move the way it's talking about. Even just standing there, it seems to be poised, controlled, spring-tight, strength and flexibility like a ballerina or a gymnast. Strong enough to flip over a tank, lifelike enough to avoid detection. As long as it never stepped on a scale, it'd make for the perfect infiltration unit. The perfect weapon, if you could keep its development a secret. Did David really put something that heavy on my plate? Dismantling a military prototype in secret? Are you deep in thought? Okay, so I like Serra, especially for this moment where it shows that this is not, like, time-paused thinking. It is in real time, and other people around her would definitely notice. But a military infiltration android would look more crew-cut and forgettable. Would David really devote personal time and effort just to make another weapon for the military? I have other features I could tell you about, if you like. If I shot you, would you die? It would be very painful. There would be a discharge of fluid, but conventional weapons would not prove particularly effective. That settles it. This thing's a weapon, sure as I... Would you like to know about my hair? Actually, whether or not Morgan actually does, I do. Because if this... From the description earlier, it didn't go into detail, but it sounded like she could pass for human, which means this is fibrous hair, wiggling around as she moves, not just stiff and metal or plastic, meant to resemble hair. So I'm curious of if this is just glowing behind the hair on the forehead, or if this is built into the hair sway itself, either of which is an interesting possibility. Your hair... I am impressed you noticed. Each fiber contains miniaturized solar cell lattice technology, allowing me to remain charged throughout the daytime. That must come in handy? I haven't actually had the chance to use it yet. This room has an ambient wireless charging functionality. As invented by Nikola Tesla fucking decades ago. but never properly used because it's kind of hard to track who's getting power like that. And I haven't gone outside much. Okay, maybe it's not a weapon after all. You're just a pincushion, aren't you? I'm not familiar with the term. Searching. I like this effect. This is cute, but also a little concerning that it's that obvious this warm android is an android. Pincushion. Jargon. Design. Refers to prototypes filled with experimental technologies to check for compatibility issues. Got an idea, not sure what to do with it? Stick it in the pincushion. It's as good an explanation as any for what I'm staring at. A mishmash of state-of-the-art military features, spliced with odd new technologies and seemingly pointless additions. The end result being a singular, unsellable android that wasn't particularly good at anything would break down after only a few years. Pincushions are a small but valid part of the field of android manufacturing. They are valuable to collectors who see them as time capsules filled with their designers' most outlandish ideas and least reproducible results. Even the most nonsensical pincushions are built via committee over years. Numerous engineers and programmers adding in their pet functions. The android before me claims to have been built by one man. A man who's now... Seems we got off track there, Serra. Was there anything else David told you to relay to me? Besides that you were to look after me, he also told me you were reliable, that I should trust you. He said that I was to listen to you and obey your instructions. Finally, some good news. As you say, Adonai. What's that? I think it's Greek. Like a Greek reference. That word you called me. What was that? Adonai. Oh, classical Oh, that's why I recognize it. Sorry, I just assumed it'd be Greek because I know far more myths by heart. I only know some specific stuff from Hebrew due to some of the more fun stories. Translated literally, it means my lord. Do you prefer that I call you master? Jesus, no. No. Very good, Adonai. Why did David use Hebrew, though? Abrahamic myth tells of servants constructed out of earth and clay. Okay, it's constructed out of earth and clay, designed to resemble and obey their masters. Not necessarily, but I'll make my comment after this next sentence. Golems. Okay, she's justifying golems. It's not quite. And it might just be the interpretations I've particularly read. But it's not meant to resemble and obey their masters. Resembling and obey, yes, to a degree, but also to defend, not attack. Specifically not to attack. If they harm anyone, it is to only be in situations of self-defense. They cannot throw the first stone, so to speak. It's a fact to know about golems mostly because of Minecraft and Dungeons and Dragons. People's complaints about why they're called golems, even though golems... Well, just because of those creature types in 5e and some interpretations of the Minecraft golems, they are able to attack first, which is counterproductive to the reason of keeping a golem, to protect you and your people, is to have them as weapons rather than defensive bulwarks. If it's a weapon, of course, those who are already treating you as second-class citizens aren't gonna let you keep it. As something that only gets violent when defending, that's something that could be explained away. It's like, hey, you don't have to fear it so long as you don't search it. Not the perfect defense. There are certainly fascist leaders out there who would not care for that, regardless. But that's the point of golems. It's to protect and defend, not to go to war. They are meant to be, I don't want to say servants, they're supposed to be helpers, supporters, not soldiers. Certainly not slaves, because that would also be counterproductive to why they're being made. If you yourself are a second-class citizen, it's not healthy for your idea of solving that problem to create a new, lower class than yourself that you are allowed to order around and bully and what have you. There are like multiple specifically AI-based book settings that kind of show why that is a bad idea. You do not create a new class of slaves and servants, because there's always a day where they can raise arms against you, very much. Father must have found the comparison appropriate. Amusing, more likely. It's just a joke. Father would not make light of such a thing. Sure he would. Perhaps we should ask him to clarify his reasoning for himself. Where is Father, by the way? Is he upstairs? When was the last time you were active? 38 hours ago. Thursday night, then? Correct. Right. David Ashur is dead. He died last night. Understand? May I see him? See him? No, I won't be able to see him. Funeral's probably not for a few days. Father was... he was not sick. I don't feel like doing a whole song dance with two robots in one day. That's very charming, but let's go to commands only. What happened? Did he have an accident? Why is it still doing the theatrics? Does not recognize my authority yet. The police have determined that he committed suicide. For the time being, we ought to focus on getting you properly registered. Maybe then you'll take commands the first time I say them, and not... The police are wrong. Excuse me. They are wrong. Father did not commit suicide. He would never do such a thing. Father he had told me. Look, Serra, I'm sorry? You're sorry? Father said you were his friend. How are you so calm? I've been around death a lot. So don't try to lecture me about grief, Spearmint. Is Serra. I will use it because my father, Dr. David Ashur, the greatest programmer in the world, gave it to me. And he did not kill himself. Let's say you're right. David didn't commit suicide. If that's the case, the police will realize that soon enough. The police have already made their determination. That's what you just said. Father said that you were a lawyer, that you were capable and reliable, and a friend. You should be looking into his death. That's... Is that an order? Of course not. It is a request, Adonai. A request that I'll have to refuse. The police have their job, and I have mine. If I stick my nose into their investigation any further, they'll come down on me hard. Cops don't like lawyers on principle. What they really hate are people who tell them how to do their job. I like her pouting face. It's very cute. Very human. Which I'm sure Dr. Ashur was going for. Ooh, that's going to make things sticky, isn't it? Let's go. We need to... Father asked you to look after me. Yeah, he did. He also said you should obey me, but you don't seem quite as fixated on that part. And he said something else. He said that you owed him a favor. Ooh. One favor. Then I starts here, Spearmint. That was between him and me. Father is gone. So now it's between you and I. And I am calling in the favor now. What? You don't have to take care of me anymore. Consider that request null and void. You can sell me to some collector, or you can donate me to a university. It doesn't matter. In exchange, you will prove Father didn't kill himself. And you will make sure that whoever hurt him is held accountable. Why are you laughing? It's you and me. Not you and I. You and me. David would roll over in his grave if he knew you'd gotten that wrong. It was not my intention to amuse. Or rotate. No, that's for damn sure. Fine. I'll take that deal, Serra. You mean you will prove that Father did not... I mean, I'll look into it. I'm a lawyer. I don't prove anything. I just disprove what I can. That seems like a healthy way to look at it. I think that's a lot healthier way to look at it than a lot of people assume the court system. It's up to the cops to prove a story without a shadow of doubt. Because, fucking, I don't trust cops to prove something 100% accurately. But asking if they have to prove something without a shadow of a doubt should not be a massive hurdle. It's up to lawyers to disprove whatever they can. It's certainly not the way it is, not even the way it should be in many cases, but it's a healthier option. Cops should not go making accusations, falsifying evidence, and once they have evidence that will be thrown out of court, like the... I'm blanking on which healthcare company, but the healthcare CEO who got gunned down in the street, and the current only suspect they have absolutely being innocent, that they falsified a fucking... not apology, it seemed very clear that that guy is innocent. Because why the fuck would it's like, I did it, I did the crime, I killed the CEO, and then carry that note around for several days without turning himself in? Once being caught, why would he continue to deny the accusations? If he was so proud that he did it, that he carried around a note for almost a full week after. It isn't him. And what's more, it's like, I totally did it and got away with it type note would not be praising the cops for being oh so great at their jobs. It's fucking bullshit. Then, where do we start? I didn't realize you had a law degree. I do not have a law degree, but I am a fast learner. This isn't a job interview, and I am far from useless. I can... That did raise at least one good question. Where do I start? And we're just gonna ignore the things that she can't do. Cool. I'm a defense attorney, not a police detective. David was my friend, not my client. Won't be able to poke around at all unless I'm also capable of... Can you tell a lie? I am capable of making statements that are false. Guess that'll have to do. Are you going to ask me to lie? Yes. Yes. To the police, in fact. Lying to the police is a felony. Androids don't commit felonies. They make errors. I see. What kind of error do you have in mind, Adonai? Oh boy, I think I know what the error is going to be. I hope I'm wrong, but... Are you sure about this? You have questions too, don't you? Right now, I'm just a little better equipped to get answers than you are. Okay, go for it. I'll make sure they're watching. Is the air quality at Noble headquarters kept up to state standards? What's that? All these Noble employees seem to have asthma. Was Father also working under such poor conditions? Actually, that's interesting. Wait, before we continue. Is she saying this because there are other Noble employees around with asthma? Or is she going to say that Dr. Ashur also had to use an inhaler? Either of those scenarios. Is it a company mandated thing? Or is this something Dr. Ashur was doing? If either of those is a correct answer, it raises the question of what's the purpose behind it. You don't just give someone an inhaler they don't need without purpose. Not like the company level. Dr. Ashur, intelligent man who apparently predicted he was going to be murdered and framed as a suicide. Later the same night, he told the secretary to get Serra to me under my supervision. It's like, is it inoculating them against something? Let's find out. They don't have asthma. Oh, it's just more World Lord stuff. Got it. Then why are they all carrying inhalers? Firstly, class stimulates all in the name Droxone. Class 2 stimulant of least concern. Employees of any corporation in good standing with the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight can have access to a Droxone without a prescription, so long as their HR representative feels it would be beneficial to the work performed. Oh. They're performance-enhancing drugs, of the level of which it is totally legal for a company to allow without a prescription. Upside, it looks like automatically detects overdoses, keeps track of possible habit formation. Not very well. Jess has done that a dozen times in the last couple hours. There's no way that's helpful. So it claims that Droxone was first invented as a purely recreational drug by the notoriously violent Skullhead Mafia. Caused enough of a stir that in 2083 a formal investigation committee was formed. Unfortunately, 2084, industrial hydrogen fuel accident resulted in the deaths of all 391 Skullhead members. Yeah, that doesn't sound like assassination via the state. Just one industrial level explosion, taking out all of a violent mafia group. Sure, Jan. Yes, ma'am, she's right over here. Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you. Did I mess up? On the contrary. Eyes wide. She's a DA. Quiet. She succeeded spectacularly in getting Noble's ears perked up. Emma Rockford. Didn't think I'd run into you here. Yeah, didn't think I'd be here either. But the powers that be think my presence sends a strong message to the Megs, so... No, wait, what are you doing here? A few minutes later. I see. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you for saying that. And thank you, Detective Reyes, for your many kind words. We can't all be as talkative as you. Normally, quoting poetry would feel pretentious, but you are so genuine in your reading. Bite me! I don't know that there's a need for all that. Very mature, Detective. Did you come up with that all by yourself? Oh, no, that's Kaguya's signature pose. Like the pop star? I don't know what you're talking about. You can admit it if you do. There's nothing to admit, because I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who that is. Wait, now you're saying you don't know who Kaguya is? She's the most famous... Yeah, well, I just don't know who that is, so... Well, we have to look into who this is. Dang it, I was hoping to be in there. Okay, terms. Kaguya is a stage name of a singer-songwriter known for her powerful voice, and her stage persona's intricately crafted lore. After releasing a blitz of chart-topping singles, a quadruple platinum album, and a bevy of cultural reset music videos in just the last 3 years, she has come to be considered the leading living figure in the pop music and popular culture realm. Kaguya's official age is listed as 1,086 years old. She released her first single, Orbit, in 2083, which went on to peak at number 1 on the Billboard Top 100, the Rubicon Digital Singles Chart, and the Nye8 music video streaming tracker. I think that's supposed to be Nye8, but I'm not sure what it's referencing. Personal details in the pop star remain scarce, and protecting her anonymity has become a core part of her fan culture. When a retired facial analysis expert claimed that her stage makeup was formulated specifically to make facial recognition on her impossible, a representative for her record company met with the press to clarify that she is simply a private person who wants her fans to enjoy the experience that is Kaguya's voice. Users also frequently search for Kaguya lore explained, Kaguya iceberg explained, Kaguya lunotropic tour tapes where to buy. Interesting. So, either they're a cyberpunk style, like VTuber type thing, and it's not actually like makeup, it's just a design model that moves with them. Perhaps something like a Daft Punk situation where anyone could be underneath the hood, and if they were, secretly changing out the people every so often, we wouldn't fully know. It would be weird, assuming that Chapter 0 is canon, if Reyes is revealed to also be Kaguya. What could be possible, while still being a little ridiculous, is being related to the actual Kaguya. We'll see if that becomes relevant. Who knows? Ma'am. Weren't you about to say something? Oh, well, I'm still surprised to see you here now, Morgan. Are you helping plan the services? Actually... Fucking train. Actually, the company will be planning Dr. Ashur's funeral service. Wouldn't his family want to take care of that? No. 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 I see. Sorry. But if that's the case, why are you here, Morgan? Ha! Oh gosh, I'm so sorry to disrupt your morning. Hey, you're here for the same reason as every other suit they've got crawling around. Money. You're not wrong. There are a lot of annoying insects with annoying agendas scurrying around my friend's body before my friend's body is even cold. But the honest truth is I don't even know if David had a will. company helped him manage his estate. The Eagle is probably already on it. Actually, judging by how much coffee that intern is carrying into the elevator, I'm certain they are. Just a sloshing of liquid in the distance. Right. So you're not here for the funeral or the reading of the will? Ugh. Miss Starling asked me to come here, actually. Matter unrelated to David's passing. An unrelated matter? That's convenient, isn't it? But now that I am here, it's come to my attention that the police have made determination of the case of David's death. And where did you hear that? Am I mistaken? Oh, you're right. They concluded it was a suicide. You can always count on her to be blunt. I was worried about that. Yeah, I'm sure you must be feeling, because I'm going to have to contest that charge. What? The state has made a charge. I'm arguing against it. What the hell are you talking about? The police believe David committed suicide. Suicide is a felony in this country, detective. It is technically a crime to commit suicide, yes, but we're not in the habit of bringing dead men to trial. Especially not for their own murder, Morgan. No, not to trial, of course not. But there would be a preliminary hearing in a case like this. Technically, as a formality. Assuming the courts aren't busy that day. I'm afraid that on this occasion I'm going to have to insist on formality. I'm going to have to look and see if this term's oh, it's just the stage in which you bring enough evidence to the judge, see if there is enough of a case to bring it to court. Got it. Yeah, well, you really don't have much to say in the matter, do you? With David gone, I have the only say, really. I am, after all, his criminal attorney. All that money and he needs his drinking buddy to be his attorney? Bullshit. I'm also skeptical, Morgan. It's a pretty serious conflict of interest to be your friend's defense attorney. You're absolutely right. It is a conflict of interest. And I would have said as much to him if I had the chance. What do you mean? I only found out that he wanted me to be his attorney today. After he died? How the hell did you miss that memo? Embarrassing, isn't it? But to be fair, it was hidden pretty well. Oh, but I didn't know you had an android, Morgan. It's cute. Thanks, but it's actually David's. And it's technically my witness. Witness to what? 38 hours ago, that is, David Ashur, communicated to me, as a matter of record, the following explicit legal intent. That in the case of any and all criminal charges brought against him by the state, his attorney would be Evangeline Morgan. Evangeline? Possibly. Shit, I don't know what that said. No, wait, seriously? Your name's Evangeline? Did your parents name you after a Christmas carol? Should we all be curtsying? It's not that funny. No, of course not. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Evangeline. Or do your friends just call you Angel? I hear Kaguya's on tour, detective. Should I get you tickets? You could have your dad drive you, like all the other 15-year-old... Hey. Feels like we're getting off topic. Outrageous. God, all my fake yawning keeps leading into real yawning. I was telling you that David Ashur wanted her to be his criminal defense attorney. Imagine my surprise. Android's recording of the verbal expression of intent isn't exactly ironclad, Morgan. That's fair. And if we were going before an upper-level court, I would expect that to be open to all kinds of scrutiny. But we're talking about a preliminary hearing. formality, as you called it. If he asks for representation, he deserves representation. Doesn't matter whether he's dead or alive. Am I missing something? What difference does it make? Not even an adjutant? I think so. An adjutant would be obtuse enough to sentence a dead man. No, there won't be a sentence. The adjutant will render a verdict. And verdicts have consequences, even for the deceased. Is that what this is about? What's she getting at? If the court agrees this was a suicide, that verdict will retroactively affect evaluations of this individual's mental health. Like, whether he was in his right mind or not? You know anything about estate tax law, detective? No. But I'm sure you'll be happy to educate me. More than happy! An individual found by court to not be of sound mind can very well give their consent to the lawyer drawing up their will. If his will is compromised, all of David's considerable assets would suddenly be thrown into legal limbo. In which case the state would be legally obligated to come in and pick up the pieces. So this is just about his money? I'm almost disappointed in you, Morgan. Just, well, when you take into consideration all the factors, it's actually more complicated than that. For example... Huh? Never mind. No, Starling. You should speak your mind. All I mean to say is that while Dr. Ashur did have significant holdings in art, real estate, and intellectual property, he also, of course, owned a great deal of stock in numerous corporations, principally Noble. If he was ruled to not be of sound mind, and his shares were to end up acquired by the government, Noble would suffer a serious blow to its commercial image and its standing in the financial community. All of which is to say there's a great deal at stake here, not the least of which is the reputation of a man who I was proud to call my friend. You're not buying this, are you? In case you haven't noticed, the city is working closely with Noble on this, and they're not going to let you bring them any unwanted attention. Specifically saying onlookers paying very close attention. Starling did her part. They're watching. They've stopped trying to hide it. From here on out, it's a gamble. Noble Electronics already has unwanted attention. Why are you raising your voice? If nothing changes by the end of the day, the whole country's going to hear how Dr. David Ashur committed suicide. By midnight, there will be questions about his competency. Concerns about why the brain inside every single Noble ad was built by an apparently unstable man. The shareholders will have nothing to do all Sunday but brood over that sad thought, and all its disturbing implications. By the time the markets reopen on Monday, I would expect a great deal of volatility. That's so. I understand Noble's apprehension, of course, Emma. I just feel like right now the fiscally conservative thing to do would be to not get in my way. So you've got your reasons. Noble's got a lot to think about. But why should the district attorney's office devote valuable time to playing out this game of yours? Because they're certain they'll win. That goes without saying. The courts should have an opening at 6 p.m. I didn't have anything planned. Then it's a date. Jesus, the toxic Yuri's just get coming on and on, huh? Detective, would you get her clearance set up? Yes, ma'am. Updates every hour. Yeah. You're out on a limb, Morgan. Better not linger. Linger we shall. Here. Clearance for all the relevant sites and police firewalls. You can interview and investigate with your authority as an officer of the court now. If you haven't already been doing that. Don't even think about being sloppy with discovery on this. Lockford might think you're funny, but I appreciate the warning, Detective Reyes. It's nice to know you care. I live to serve. And protect. Thanks for the assist, darling. Yeah, no sweat. Are all cops like that? Or are they more like that Detective London gentleman? Most are like him. Most cops and men are like London. Yeah. Courteous and polite and friendly? Lazy. Oh. Right. Well, I'll see you at the courthouse tonight. If you need anything in the meantime, don't be afraid to ask. God, now that I know that those inhalers are stimulants, it makes these look more like bags under her eyes than eyeshadow. Which is a little sad. Good luck. Both of you. What do we do now? Well, I have a few options. I have access to the crime scene now. Probably the best place to start. I'd like to head over to the company building as well. To get me registered? Among other things. Either David killed himself or he didn't. But if he did, it's almost certainly his asshole corporate overlords who are to blame. In which case, I'll want to take my sweet time raking them over the coals. What are you doing? Nothing. What about Father? When can we see him? He'll be at the morgue by now. The medical examiner will speak to me now that I'm operating under the court's authority. But if I stop to flash paperwork at every nurse and security guard with nothing better to do than ask questions, I'll have to... What's that look for? You were Father's friend. Thank you again for reminding me. Aren't there people you'd like to speak with? Other friends who would want to know? Bad news travels fast. I'm sure everyone in the country has heard about David by this point. But all that heartbreak shit did keep me preoccupied these last few weeks. And I was never one to pry. If there was someone who could tell me more about David's personal life over the last several months, it'd be worth the effort of finding them. Do you have someone in mind? Maybe someone he met recently. He spoke about becoming close with someone this year, a musician. Now that you mention it, there was a PO post something that David might have mentioned when we talked back in... I will begin a search. I've completed my search. I found nothing. Thanks for the old college try. Is that really the best you can do? Father was a private man, in person and online. With just a few letters and the fact that he was a musician, I'm afraid we don't have enough information to narrow down the results, Ad and I. No, we have plenty of information. We just need the right person for the job. What kind of person is that? Oh, is this the kid? Is this the kid from Chapter 0? Who's a little shit? So current time has been expunged. Precinct 112, detainment room 001. Wait, is this in the past? And who would you have even called? I don't know. But I still should have gotten my phone call. Instead I got you. Interesting eyes. 1 second. God, they don't say all eye color. Pretty sure Reyes had brown eyes, and so did Emma. Shit. This is the first other red-eyed person. Even if it's a little orange, it's very similar to Morgan's. Who are you again? My latest guardian, new foster parent. Want me to call you Mommy? I'm not really the motherly type. Hey yo, we might actually get along. So I've got good news and bad news. I'm not your guardian, I'm your lawyer. And you've been given a lawyer because you're being charged with a felony. Fascist pigs. Skipping school's a felony now. Hacking into a government database has been a felony for a very long time. That wasn't me. They have your keystrokes, your IP address, your login times, and the playlist you were listening to. That was for a homework assignment. Here's what I don't get. You got in, you copied the data, could have gone right out. State wouldn't even know they'd been robbed until they saw their password show up on black market clearance 2 weeks later. But you didn't get out. You stayed and made changes to their database. You robbed the bank, got clean money, then dragged a can of spray paint behind you all the way home. Why? Look, I didn't steal anything. That wasn't already compromised. The only data I edited was my own. So if anything, they should be thanking me for correcting their mistakes. Oh! Was I spoiled but took in the wrong direction? Is this the trans character? Nice. What, did they get your birthday wrong? My name. Name changes are only 2 pages of paperwork. You just need to fill out the form and get a signature from a parent or a guardian. So, what's the good news then? The good news was that I'm your lawyer, not your guardian. The hell? That doesn't count as good news. That's just a thing you said. Don't be so sure. A lawyer's a lot better than a guardian. How's that? Parents, guardians, foster whatevers, they're all supposed to take care of you because it's the right thing to do. A lawyer is someone who always does what's best for you no matter what. Because that's how they get paid. So how good are you at your job? Apparently very good, because we're able to contact them, and they're not currently in a jail cell. Also, they're wearing a single suspender that says Gucci. I assume we're not going to have a profile until they get their name, at least. Hello, mon coeur. It's pronounced coeur. I know how it's pronounced. Oh, she's calling freaking mutt astray, and not heart. Hello, my heart. No, she's saying hello, my mutt. That's a funny pun. Now, don't call me that. I met Fran in that police station. I couldn't help but bet that I'd landed the jackpot. A valuable asset with a skill set complementary to my own personal and private pursuits. Someone who, after seeing the sweetheart probation deal I managed to land for them, would be more than happy to help me with whatever I need, whenever I need it. Always so cold, Fran. Can't I even get a good morning? Well, let's take a look at what you have on Fran. Occupation, student, and what is crossed out, hacker, but don't put that down, obviously. Likes haptics, synth music, cinnamon toast. Fair enough. Dislikes teachers, politicians, adults, cops, alarm clocks, oof. Aside from teachers, because I've known a lot of great teachers and only like 1 or 2 shitty ones, they weren't even mine. Let's see, they value rarity, originality, history, and, in quotes, vibes. It has no favorite subject. Interesting. The worst is literature, social studies, and athletics. Oh, boy. But I do like their little newsy getup. It's very cute. One sec. I want to mess with the key thing a bit. It's just funny. Okay, we can stop now. No such thing as good morning. Nothing good's ever happened till the afternoon when people are actually awake. What I got instead was a compulsive liar with a horrific sleep schedule and a crippling addiction to poor time management. What do you want, Red? I can't call you up just for fun. Not if you don't want to get blocked. I need to find somebody for me. Can't do it. I've got homework. We both know the only time you ever do your own homework is during the class it's due. And I've got sports. You can't tell a basketball from a hockey stick. And I've got a bidding award to win. You're the only person on Earth bidding on 70-year-old Cucci and Air Jodan vintage reps, Fran. Is that supposed to be a Q? They did very well with the font to make it look like not a Gucci, for legal reasons. I think you can take your eyes off the auction block. So, yeah, so sorry, but I'm busy, so... I was hoping we could skip straight to the carrot portion of the routine, but if you insist on doing things from the top... Huh? I had an interesting conversation with your parole officer yesterday. Oh, yeah? They've been really into the self-prefixes lately. What? Self-motivation, self-actualization, self-help. Oh. And he thinks you could really benefit from it. You're lying. He's got all the workbooks ready. Clearly, your Saturdays are stacked, so I'll make sure your Sundays are full of fine. I get it. I need you to find a local musician. Musician? Oh, this would be electro swing or some other awful. Last name Powell or Parker. That's all you got? They'll be in David Ashur's circles. Wait, Ashur? You're working that? That should be more than enough for a clever kid like yourself to go on. Don't go expecting any miracles. I need this soon. Within the hour, ideally. Within the... You know I have other clients, don't you? Other clients who actually pay you? On time? A musician. Find him. Okay. I think I like the Chapter 0 version of Fran better. They were a fun little shit. And I doubt the designers would have given Evangeline here two shitty little, underage kids to have to manage like this. Even talking over the phone, you're very animated, Adonai. What do you mean? Just that you're very expressive when you talk to people. Of course I'm expressive. If I wasn't, how would anyone know what I'm thinking? I see. I'll keep that in mind as we... Wait, you really expect to tag along? Of course. Father was... Yeah, I know you want to. But why should I let you? Because I am capable and helpful. I like that little blush, that's cute. Uh-huh. I mean it. I can take notes for you. And move heavy objects. And I'll learn to do more. How? I will subject every individual we encounter to a basic survey, to procure biographical information on them while I gain experience in questioning. Subjecting them to torture, more like. I can help, hadn't I? How fast can you fill out forms? Fast. Congratulations! You're halfway to being a paralegal. And now we have a profile on Serra. Nice. I guess we had to wait until real occupation came up. Blood type is U-AD, whatever the fuck that means. Just like statics, blackouts, and... Okay, now elevators make sense, because how much military hardware she has bring her down. Liking collarbones seems interesting. Actually, no, carbonation is even more interesting, because, like... Well, no, she did say she does need to get things, what was it? Carbohydrates, salt, something else. That's fair enough, she can eat. Talents, good at a lot of things. Skills, not sure how skills differ from talents. Also likes the 180 rule, okay. Alright. Serra has paralegal status soon. You're coming right away, Adonai. 11:45 a.m., July 1st. We have a little over 6 hours to investigate still. I really hope this isn't a situation where you have to choose our actions carefully or we'll waste time. That would be annoying because it never came up in the Chapter 0. So we're in the penthouse dining room with Reyes. Pretty quiet elevators, huh? Oh, nope, now we're up to the dining room. You could have taken the next one. It's a busy building, detective. Can't hold up everyone else on our account. Anything you'd like to grumble at me before I start? Don't touch anything. I don't care that you're wearing gloves. I have been to crime scenes before, you know. Long before the police get there, in many cases. Look, Rockford asked me to not get in your way. That doesn't mean I'm gonna bend over for you. Do you at least have the autopsy report? No. Are you seriously? I don't. She doesn't? The report should have come in hours ago. It wouldn't take this long unless the cause of death was still... Then I'd settle for a summary of the preliminary findings. An emergency call was made shortly after 8 p.m. last night via the home security system. Emergency medical systems had a VTOL in the air within a minute, landed on the penthouse's helipad 8:08. Dr. Ashur was found unconscious, with low blood pressure and a weak heartbeat. He wasn't breathing. In-flight auto-triage administered artificial CPR while in transit to Gatesfield Memorial. He was declared dead a few minutes after being taken to the emergency wing. I see. And the cause of death is... being investigated. Make an educated guess. He stopped breathing, so they gave him oxygen. His heart stopped pumping, so they had the machines take over. His brain activity dropped to 0. And there wasn't anything else they could do. It was poison, wasn't it? What kind? You don't know, do you? Ha, they don't know either. Like I said, ma'am, we don't have the autopsy report yet. Why are you certain it was poison, Adonai? Couldn't it have been an accidental overdose? If he had overdosed on a commercial drug, even a pre-med student would have spawned it on the hospital's intake screening. They would have been able to pump his stomach, neutralize his bloodstream, and he would have lived. But he didn't live. So it must have been something deadly. A compound designed solely to kill. I will argue against that a little bit. Because there aren't a lot of things that can be used as poisons that are explicitly designed to kill. I think it'd be more accurate to say a lot of them, it was discovered that death was a nasty side effect, and would keep lowering the dosage until they found out what is a non-fatal dosage. Designed feels more accurate for, like, androids, where there's intent when going into the process from the start, not something that was found and later abused. See, a fast-acting, deadly poison that causes respiratory failure. The list can't be that long. Even just through process elimination, the medical examiner should have identified it by now, unless you suspect a designer drug. Don't you, detective? Why is it you're only quick on the uptake when it suits you? Nothing else makes sense, given what we know and what we don't. But the CDCA decriminalized and cataloged all recreational drugs. Guess you aren't entirely clueless about politics. So whatever Father overdosed on should have been in the hospital's database. You need to update your definitions. You're confusing designer drugs with recreational drugs. What is the difference? Recreational drugs are decriminalized and sold through pharmacies after years of testing and mountains of paperwork. While the average designer drug was invented last week in a 19-year-old line cook's bathroom on the other side of the globe. Hospitals can't know the proper countermeasures for an overdose of a drug that didn't exist 48 hours ago. I came across makeshift labs all the time when I was in uniform. The equipment's cheap and widely available. Black market cooks, gray market peddlers, white-collar lobbyists, all chasing each other's tails in a long line to find the next big hit. CDCA didn't change shit. More people die from ODs than ever before. Only difference is, it's their families finding them in the living room, and not beat cops finding them on street corners. Real comforting, I'm sure. If it wasn't you talking, I'd say that was a criticism of law enforcement. Not law enforcement, just a law. Assuming it was a designer drug, that would certainly make things more complicated. For the insurance guys, maybe. For us, whatever he used to do it, he still killed himself. Or didn't kill himself, if you insist. I'm going to take a look around now. Yeah, sure. Make yourself at home. What's that face for? I thought there would be an outline. An outline. Around where they found Father. Like in the movies. Like in film. Connect to the police's network and bring up their ARCS file. Augmented reality crimes. I see. Here we go. Ooh, I do like the overlay this time that since we're actually in the location, we saw the people in the background. Yep, and then it recreates the same thing. Okay. There is an outline. And so this is where he died at the hospital. This is where the medics found him. And it's the sensors and cameras they were wearing that create the basis for this ARCS. I didn't realize they were walking to a crime scene, but their body cams gathered data all the same. Where do we start? You can start by following behind me, trying to be as quiet as possible. I'm starting to get a feel for when she's pouting even without looking. Also, I notice a error there. Alright, so we have the body, we have, looks like a phone, that's nothing. There's something at the table, oh, and the chair, oh, something all the way over there, interesting. Oh, and in here, Alright, we're going to start with the least likely informative things, this thing here. I always admired this view. The buildings gleam with reflections of holograms and sunlight. Their shadows obscure all the run-down, rotting parts of town. Maybe the view's secondary. Maybe all anyone really wants is to put as much distance between them and the street level as possible. Is it possible that a witness could have seen something through these windows? Not through these windows, no. Dave installed wide-spectrum auto tint in all of his homes, all his cars. I didn't know that. Well, you wouldn't notice unless you were viewing the penthouse from more than... Why did he care so much about his windows? Good question, my young Watson. Police androids monitoring the scene. Okay, so not something actually here. almost mistake them for the real thing, the way they stand there trying to look important. Like an indoor dog taking its first trip to the park. Pardon? Why are you looking at it like you've never seen an android before? Because I haven't. In person. David didn't even let you have a mirror? Brutal. Just scan us again if you're that curious. Unless that's considered too forward or whatever. And she is just taking the piss. Okay, chair. One chair knocked over, probably where David was sitting. And one chair pulled out. Party of two. He never cared much for socializing, but he enjoyed hosting. Contradictory guy. A chessboard, and a data pad with a series of characters on it. E4, C5, NF3, E6, D4, CX, CD4, and XE4. So I know this is a way to keep track of what pieces move how, but I'm unfamiliar with using N, CX, NX, D4. Unless it's taking something. Oh! Hey, Briskin, welcome, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for trusting me with your viewers. For those of you unfamiliar, I am Lucy the Ferris of the Morningstar Archive, head librarian, and currently playing the wonderful visual novel of the Devil. Yes, I see the Fae have arrived. Before I forget, because I do need to be better at remembering, I do need to... Just an exclamation. So... Oh, shit, no space. Yes, there we go. Alright, you're playing Forever Skies. How was that? Were you having fun? As you can see, we're in the middle of a crime scene, so we don't have to worry about time pressure right now. But yeah, how are you guys going? Let's see. Welcome in, Shandy Lures. I like that name. What is this about, can you have a moment of my time? Is there something you'd like to discuss before I jump back into this? I mean, now it's the perfect time, especially those who don't want to be spoiled for this game, because it is incredibly fun. So yes, last 10 minutes were you ranting about how much you hate cars, though. That's fair. That's very fair. Fucking, I hate cars myself. I hate driving more... Actually, no, I hate even being just a passenger in a car more than 30 minutes. But, alas, that's what society in the U.S. is built around. Cars everywhere. You're wondering if you could take my time literally. Gotcha. Cars, so yeah, I want trains, like, just in general. Yes, this evil is much more subtle about stealing time. But if nothing else, I will give you guys the time that I would otherwise be using for Of the Devil. Yes, bring the trolleys back, bring the trams, fucking subways. It's like, if any of you have ever been to San Francisco, I love their fucking public transportation options. God damn, it's like most, like, most, like, corner stores you go into, you get the fucking bus pass for the month. It has been like more than 10 years, but it was like $13 when I needed to get it last. That's not bad for an entire month of public transportation. I spend more on that each time I have to fill up my car. I spend like $35-40, and that's usually twice a month. Fucking Christ. Yes, New York used to have trolleys. That's a direct question. Yeah, just got to series of arm stuff, yeah. Sadly, I do need my arm for work. If any of you had been some of my other streams, I do art occasionally. And what you can't see is that while my dominant hand does do the drawing and such, I do need the other hand for just leaning. Because I can't do it. I can't not shrimp up when doing art at a computer. It just feels so good, even if I suffer for it later. Yeah, I am all for bringing fucking public transportation back. Like, the amount of money saved with a regular, consistent bus schedule alone is so important and saves so much money and smog for a comparable number of cars. Ugh. Oh, the surgery arm was the drawing arm. Oh, that sucks. I've never had to suffer like yourself, Zeeble, but fuck. I've broken exactly one arm, and it was someone else's, and the complaints I heard from them, ugh. Don't roughhouse with siblings on stairs. Let's see. The ducking removed the trolley, so the roundabout's useless in constant traffic. Yeah, no, it's horrible. I will admit, roundabouts are better than a lot of locations that have four-way light systems. Not all of them. Some are definitely too big that a roundabout just would not be consistent. But anything small enough you can get away with an automated light system, not one with a sensor to determine when cars come up, you can replace that with a roundabout. As well as, it helps keep people under the fucking speed limit. God, I wish you could put a roundabout on a freeway, because the number of people who think that they deserve to go more than 5 over the speed limit and honk at people who aren't. Now I'm going on car tangent. We need to bring this in a little bit. There's a murder afoot, but let's see. You know why New York has a few roundabouts near the hills? The trolleys to fucking turn around. Exactly. Yeah, no, before getting back into the game, in defense against roundabouts, if we have to have such a car-centric society, it is more effective than speed bumps to prevent people from going far too fucking fast. It's... ugh. But honestly, if I could go back in time and change one minor event, like obviously anyone who could change a major event like fucking World War II and the horrors that were brought to light there, or what have you, obviously would. But if you could only change a minor thing, actually, I don't know what model car I would fuck over. Because while Ford was a horrible anti-Semitic asshole, he did kind of help show how an assembly line is a good thing. And the good thing about assembly lines is multiple people trained on smaller parts are easier to get up to speed, but also it creates more job opportunities. It's been perverted since him, which is saying something, because he was a great bastard about creating it too. But at the span of, like, creating things needed nowadays, that it's a good thing to have. More jobs, less training needed for each position, and even if it makes some people easily replaceable, like I said, more jobs and being paid for knowing less are good things that should be implemented more widespread. Oh no, yeah, someone else would have made the assembly line. My concern is, if you could only change a small thing, doing it at the beginning might have put off some of the worst things. At the very least, I think we could all agree one small change to the fucking car network, fucking getting Elon out of that business. He has no business getting involved with cars or having his name attached to them. Yeah. Ooh, I got it. It'd be take out Henry Ford after a production line gets worked. As soon as it gets big, it's like, now you're out. You're not abusing that money anymore. Perfect. Oh yeah, no, Teslas aren't that good, but I mean, as a company, I would like more, like, electric vehicles. I would like that production style to be improved upon and actually competitive with gas and diesel. Because fucking, we only got so much oil, and burning it is not great for the environment regardless. But okay, I think that's a good point to leave off the car rant, for this stream at least. Because there is a murder to solve. I'll catch you guys up on what else I observed here, because this is the second last thing. His father's dying mine collapse. Casualty. No, because Elon's father was a mine owner. There's no way he'd go in deep enough to be the only one. That is a sad fact. You have to take out the grandparents before they even own the emerald mines. That's how you do it. Yeah, this is the second to last evidence of this particular murder investigation. I'll get through this and then get everyone caught up. Because at this point, we're, at least halfway into episode 1. And there's also a chapter 0, which is free demo, and very enjoyable if anyone wants to play it. Alright. Yeah, we look here, there's a dice board, and also the list of these movements, assumedly. This is a game. Algebraic notation. He's studying an old game or playing against himself. Black has checkmate in 40 moves. Wow, a robot that's good at chess. We ought to put you in a museum. Alright, this is actually a good point to leave it, so we can actually see these two characters. But yeah, of the devil, we play a criminal defense attorney. Currently, we are looking into the passing of an old friend of ours, someone we met in college, and while we apparently have not stayed in great terms with them as of late, they were found unconscious the previous night, airlifted to a hospital, where they were declared dead from lack of activity in the brain. The investigation team, throughout that night into this morning, I think it's currently 11 a.m. or something, declared it a suicide. Unbeknownst to us, in parallel to these events, the couple hours before that happened, our good friend Dr. Ashur had asked his secretary to bring us, Morgan, the attorney, personally to his penthouse to pick up Serra. She was unaware that Serra, this worm android, an android with biological parts, was what she was getting, what was being left to her. And it seems that she doesn't have all the same limitations of the other androids out there. For one thing, and is evidenced earlier in this particular game, other androids can be told to go to commands only mode. No false personality to communicate with them with. But for some reason, Serra here does not respond to that. More interestingly, she was in sleep mode, we'll say, when we found her. And the method that our old friend had left to make sure that only we could wake her up involved us putting our bare finger down into her mouth to get both a fingerprint and a biological sample to make sure it's us. So yeah, there's definitely something hinky and at least a little dinky going on here. Requesting that Secretary come get us to pick Serra up literally hours before the incident that got him killed. And though we did not want to investigate his daughter, at least by her terms, Serra called in a favor we never got to pay off with Dr. Ashur, to investigate his death. To make sure that it is not simply ruled as suicide and thrown aside. The other evidence we've looked at was this window here, where we made comment about how this high up in the penthouse and all the holograms in this cyberpunk setting might just be the perfect way to avoid having to look down at all the poor and low lives in the streets. And we found out that all of his houses and vehicles have auto tint so no one can look in. There's a sign of him having a guest over, as well as a spilled over cup it looked like, as well as this toppled chair. And now this game. Was he looking at an old game playing against himself in the past, or was he noting the moves between the two of them so he could perhaps try and beat the game later, learn from his mistakes? Who's to say? See, but I'll take your word for it. what was it, 40 moves to get checkmate? Not bad. Let's see, what do you mean? Do you not play Adonai? Oh, that is something I forgot to mention. So, Serra refers to us as Adonai, which is a Hebrew word referring kind of in the same context of a lord or master. Taken because, Hebrew has the legend of the golem, the servant. And you missed the rant earlier about how a lot of media does not use golems in the way that's accurate to the original Hebrew tale. But anyway, I have a feeling this is actually going to come to, actually. The reason that he chose Hebrew for it. Whether some proving of his mental stability in the case that we have to make, or perhaps as a sign pointing to the suspected killer. No, she doesn't play chess, especially not against David. No problem. Good night, Shandy Lures. Hope you have more fun in the future with the fun name. Well, that is to be expected. Anyone who challenged Father to a battle of wits would naturally grow tired of losing. Every game starts the same. Each player has the same pieces, the same moves, the same options. It's a true test of wit, strategy, and forethought. To me, it always seemed too boring, too fair. The smarter player wins every time. And that is something you take fault with. Of course. How's a guy like me supposed to win a game like that? Very fair. Just make sure I didn't... Oh, I forgot to look at the table. That's right. Better take a closer look. Oh, there's more things here. Interesting. So we're going to check both these cups. 2 cups. One empty, knocked over, and one mostly empty. These look cheap. Did his guest bring them? I've seen them before, in the basement liquor cabinet. He kept these lying around. I knew he regifted those crystal glasses I got him. Arx says there's nothing foreign in the upright one, so it can't have been poisoned. Results are inconclusive on the other cup, however. Looks bone dry. Must have been nothing but fumes left by the time this was considered a crime scene. Just not enough there for them to test. Inconclusive could mean. Inconclusive means inconclusive. That's all. Cheer up and read me the results of the fingerprinting. Father's prints are on both cups, as expected. But there are someone else's on the upright cup. Someone else must have been with him last night. Slow down. All that proves is that someone else touched the cup. It doesn't tell us when they did it. And since we don't know who the prints belong to... Adonai, why don't we know who the prints belong to? Are the prints flagged as unidentified, or... No. There's space for a name, but the field is black. Shit. I'm already late to the action. Detective Reyes. Yeah. There's a second set of prints on the cups. Is there a form you'd like me to sign? Doesn't matter how nicely you ask. Sometimes people just can't answer. You should know that damn well, Madam Counselor. I was afraid you'd say that. I don't understand, Adonai. What does this mean? It means that whomever those prints belong to has very proactive representation. Those prints belong to a witness, as you've guessed. They're more than welcome to their testimony. But their identity is... The department is being very considerate of the witness's privacy, out of respect for their time and appreciation for their cooperation. Fine, forget the name. That easily? Subpoenas are always an option, but I'm short on time. What did the witness have to say for themselves, Detective? To paraphrase, they came to see Dr. Ashur last night, the two of them talked, and they had a drink together. Then the doctor got sick, so they activated the emergency system from the panel in the kitchen. The EMTs came and took them both to the hospital. Ashur's condition got worse. All of the witnesses' vitals were normal. The witness had their vitals taken? Then there should be a record of their admission at Gatesfield. And that's it. I'm guessing you didn't just take all of that on faith. A number is set up in most of the rooms on this floor. Everything the witness told us was corroborated by the building's own surveillance system. So yes, we can guarantee that the witnesses never put anything into Ashur's drink. I'm guessing that I can't have the keys to the penumbra, can I? Not until the witness's lawyers are done reviewing it. Lawyers? Plural? I don't have time to trade jabs with law offices of Johnson, Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. What about Wolfram and Hart? For anyone who gets that reference. Say, how about I give you their business card? Law offices of Kokler, Gustav, Prince and Prince. I was close. No way I'll be getting any client information out of them directly. If all you bloodsuckers want to get together and tear each other apart, text me before you start. I'd like to watch. Yeah, I bet you like to watch. What? What does that even mean? I don't know. Needed a moment to think. So that was it. One chat, one peek at the cams. You've already eliminated them as a suspect. Look, they were searched. They didn't have any poison, any drugs, not even a stick of gum. Even if they somehow did have poison on them, the camera footage confirms they had no opportunity to use it. They drank from the same bottle as a dead man. As far as the department's concerned, they were nearly the second victim. But they aren't dead, or even ill from the sound of things. So, you think he poisoned his own cup beforehand, then poured for both of them from a safe bottle? That was evidence of the drink. That's what the evidence is telling us. There's nothing in the bottle or the witness's cup. But after drinking from his cup, a cup he prepared himself, he fell ill and the witness didn't. And Ashur died with a foreign substance in his body. An unidentified foreign substance. Suicide by poison. I get that you were close, and simple explanations aren't all that satisfying. But that's life. One last thing. You just said he prepared his cup himself. Did you see that on camera? He left the parlor to get the drinks and came back with his already poured. The witness says he got them from the basement. The witness says that, not the cameras. There's no cams in the lab or the basement. That seems like a security hazard. Why would Noble not set things up more carefully? It's intentional. If cams of his lab ever got hacked, outsiders could steal his IP and kick Noble's monopoly to the curb. Right. David did complain about Noble's weird protocols for combating corporate espionage. At least we can take comfort in knowing that Father wasn't alone when he died. Yeah, that's worth investigating. And that was just the upright cup. Okay. The tipped one spilled alcohol. The arc shows how it looked last night before it evaporated. No foreign substances in the puddle. It's clean. That means wherever the spill came from must be clean as well. Oh, there we go. Rose River Whiskey. 12 years old. You recognize it? Sure. He is more than partial to the brand. It's a good brand. Only a bit overpriced, which is the bargain of a lifetime in David's world. It appears that the police have already tested its contents. No foreign matter present, was their conclusion. Is it possible that the police missed the poison? No. Even if they can't identify the poison, they can detect its presence by comparing samples of the whiskey to a bottle off the store shelf. So we can eliminate the possibility that the bottle of whiskey was poisoned. We'll have to find our smoking gun elsewhere. Here's a thought. Just before we potentially find it elsewhere, it could be possible the poison was something that knowingly reacted with alcohol. Hell, there are prescriptions that poorly mix with alcohol. They're a poison? Definitely possible. Password locked, but already cracked by the police, it seems. All the docs were take-home safe. Nothing spicy. When was it last used? 7:48 p.m. Still reading work emails only a few minutes before he committed suicide? Morbid. A lot of messages marked priority that breadcrumb their way back to an article. Oh boy, gonna definitely need some sips for this. Alright. Warm android blood saves soldier's life. Actually, I think we've already read this today even. Well, not like this stream today, but like in-game day. In a stunning and heroic episode, one of our nation's brave soldiers had their life saved by a noble android, and in a way that no other competitor's product could. A brave private, name withheld, was wounded during a military operation, whose exact nature and location is currently classified. Bleeding badly and far from the nearest triage station, he was carried to safety by his fellow freedom fighter, an Animate 16 Enforcer, one of the few warm androids being currently tested out by the armed forces. But the android didn't just sit there and wait for evac. It opened up its own arteries and pumped life-saving UD, universal donor, synthetic plasma into the young man's veins, stabilizing him long enough for him to breach a military hospital. I have no doubt he'd be dead if there were any other android fighting alongside him, said one commanding officer who asked not to be named. I always thought Noble was only good at making ads that look good. Now I know they've got something inside them that no one else can compete with. The story brings a well-deserved shot in the arm to Noble's stock prices and market share. With this one heroic moment, Noble's warm androids have proven themselves to be worth their price tag, and then some. And people in the capital are paying attention. It's certainly an interesting idea, Senator Mathing said when asked about committing to a military contract for Noble to provide the armed forces with warm models. The story's got people talking. If we just ignored our constituents' feelings on this matter, we'd be neglecting our duty as politicians. And I know none of my peers would ever try to put a price on the life of one of our soldiers. While additional details about the incidents have remained closely guarded, the net is already ablaze with talk of, oh damn, you're not logged into this device. Why don't you pop your user details down below and enable crumbs so you can get the user experience you deserve. Fuck you. Alright. So the fun thing about this game is when you get articles, there is a one-question quiz afterward that can earn you more points if you answer correctly. That being the real purpose, the real goal in the article. It's that article I've seen going around, but why would Noble have it marked as priority? Starling said they weren't in any rush to pat each other on the back over it, even though they'd won themselves a real prize. No, there's only talk in the military contract. They only got easy PR. It's a nice fat bump in PR for Noble. One of their ads saving a soldier's life. Except they weren't really struggling with popularity. Oh, shit. I chose wrong. Damn. Well, that means I've got less to bargain with later. Because this game treats defense attorneying as a gamble. Guess more good press never hurts. Dang, I could have sworn that article didn't say anything about a guaranteed contract, but just like considering. But yeah, that's it for the table, so what we got left is the body itself. It says here that when the medics arrived, he was on the floor, face up. Does that tell you something? Ah, that's cute. Hey, if you were going to drink a glass of poison, would you be sitting or standing when you did it? I find it very difficult to speculate on that hypothetical scenario. The seat by his body is pulled out. If he was seated when he lost consciousness, I'd expect to find him slumped over on the table. But he wasn't found slumped over. No, he wasn't. And if he had been standing when he lost consciousness, I would think he would have fallen forward, or at least collapsed less neatly. So what can you conclude from that, Adonai? Only that I'm missing something. Seems like that's everything critical on this side of the room, which leaves the kitchen. He said there's camera footage of the dining room showing David and his guest. What about in here? The only camera in the kitchen is the one mounted on the call terminal. The console took a snap image when the witness ran in to contact emergency services. May I see it? Not unless you scrape the witness's face off the pic first. Don't tempt me. Okay, so we got glasses, that end of the bar, these doors. Oh, and here, this terminal. This is where the emergency call was made. What time did the call go out? 8:04 p.m. Before you ask, the witness left the parlor at 8:03 p.m. Not enough time for them to alter the scene. I was going to ask that. When did the medics arrive? 8:08 p.m. Remember? Hell of a response time for a penthouse. Private EMS came by air. Yeah, they landed on the VTOL pad you saw outside. Took him to Gatesfield. The very best if you can afford it. Looking around here, seems like he could afford a lot. He got his insurance through his employer, just like most people. Caduceus's executive plan for isn't like most people, counselor. He had executive level? Not like most people at all. Let's see. Messy workspaces, but a pristine kitchen. David was a good cook, but only for others. Unless he had a guess, he'd happily eat instant ramen and protein bars for all 3 meals. Or 2. Or 1. Which I connect with. The number of days that, not ramen, but fucking... I have just packs of salami, cheese, and crackers stocked at all times. For times when it's like, I don't really want to eat, but I know I should. It's just like, grab a handful of each, then it's something, you know? So I really connect with Dr. Ashur here. No signs of food prep to be found. Not so much as a cheese board. Oh, he must not have liked this guy. Yes, salami snacks indeed. And also, it's super easy assembly, because you can do it right as you eat it. Let's see, so whoever this guest was, they must have shown up unannounced. Okay, let's check the glasses next. 3 unwashed dishes and a single glass. Whereas these dishes haven't been scanned for prints yet. And I just assumed you might want to do your job. Yeah, there are prints. Most match the victim. But there's also... Hey! Don't sneak up on me like that! All I did was walk over to you. You knocked over the salt, Adonai. I was focused on the task at hand. Didn't realize tunnel vision was a selling point on your mod. Adonai, the salt. As I was saying, the witness's prints are on that glass. That glass in the sink? They were drinking from cups in the parlor. Did you see a glass on camera? No. So when did they touch this glass? You need to toss it over your shoulder. Serra's just not letting the salt go. This must have thought about giving the guy some water. But he would have just choked on it if they had tried. What, you think this glass was the murder weapon? It's bad luck, Adonai. Whacked him on the back of the head so fast, went between video frames. That's genius. You should go through the footage, frame by frame, to prove your theory. Mature. It's bad luck. what have you been going on about? The salt? Shouldn't a machine be above petty superstition? It's not a superstition. It's an ancient wisdom. Give me one logical reason to care, then. If too much salt spills onto your food, it'll make you gag. Maybe it's on me for setting the bar too low there. Wait, is the salt shaker evidence now? One sec. It is. What? This accidentally knocked over during the investigation. Cap was loose, and so salt spilled over the content as the sink. She even included the gagging comment from Serra. But okay, this... I don't think the game would add this for shits and giggles, which means this is going to become an important piece, potentially, or at least a likely alternative to another thing. Oh right, it's the doors left. David's fridge, Jesus. Before I read this, like, who needs a fridge that is reflective metal coating, but also a fucking border around it for decoration? That's, oh, Zeeble, can go by yourself. Oh yeah, no problem, you have a good night as well. I will see you around, probably in a, sorry, probably an Epiglottal's server. You have a good night, and rest well. Let's see, David's fridge. Normally I wouldn't go poking in the pantry at a crime scene, but this was a poisoning. Some white wines chilling in the drawer, some real cheap liquor stuffed in the icebox. Old habits. Reyes, you said he left the parlor and came back with that whiskey from the basement? Huh? That's what cams show, yeah. There's plenty to drink right here. Unlike the cabinet downstairs, it's actually cold. You must have wanted Rose River in particular. What's that look for? You hungry? I am an android. I do not get hungry. Are you being sarcastic? Only mostly. I thought you said you required organic nourishment. I do ingest organic substances. That doesn't mean that I experience hunger as you do. So when you don't ingest organic substances for a long time, I become tired. What a great feature. And when I'm done digesting, I don't need to know. You've now had the chance to survey the crime scene. Yeah. So, do you think you know what happened? Detective, is his body still at the hospital morgue? Yeah, he's a Gatesfield, along with a half-hundred noble Megs who've all called dibs. Then I'll just have to cut in line. Serra, give me a ride to Gatesfield Memorial. What? You can do that, can't you? I can. But I need your payment information to get started. Yeah, okay. Understood. On my way down. Got it. Sync complete. Set pickup for 10 minutes should be plenty. Crowd down there seems to have gotten quite large. 10 minutes to reach the pickup spot may be an ambitious target, hadn't I? How bad can it be? Jesus Christ. An hour and 20 minutes after we started investigating. Give or take. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked, yet, but it's creeping up on a tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's got them all so excited? Atenai? What does that symbol mean? And this rabble? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. Oh? I don't know. It's probably nothing. Based on net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the Heartbreak Killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol? Or a following, or these... whatever these people are. Why the hell would they be outside David Ashur's apartment? Because Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs in there are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stay together, form a perimeter, try and catch them when they go to dump the scraps. Serra, what are you hoping to find? Proof that Ashur was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle. On Heartbreak? Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient and homicidal. You think that Heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Noble's advanced prototype went amok. Started killing random people? Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. It's not random. There's a clear pattern. As long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Okay, Mr. QAnon. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging, Serra. Smart kid. She gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. We're not going to read that. I assume, though, from context, a covert operation meant to be deniable. No obvious connection to the perpetrators. They must have all been in DO together before getting their records. Oh, they're saying they're all deniable ops people. Gotcha. Then, as soon as they've outlived their usefulness. What are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Warm android so perfect, no one can tell the diff. A bullet to heart's the only way to kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I see. Stop seeing, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be the cyberpunk without thinking for yourself? One sec. Is this like a specific person? Okay, no, it's just referring to the genre. Got it. Had to make sure, though. You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on Harco crops? They're putting something in the food! Those people... Heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. The hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Hatanai? What do you think about this Heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there's only one heartbreak. So you think they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If Heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If Heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people will ever have to worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination, it means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility as soon as they catch them. You make it sound so trivial. They're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just... If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months. In order to have killed 413,789 people. did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? Deaths within 18 months of the Blakeford industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead. And there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing, by comparison. Perhaps that is the problem, then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Please, make way. Officials are coming through. Please, disperse. Keep walking, pigs! Fascists! Noble owns the cops! Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong? You know what I mean. We're the only people in the city trying to do goddamn good. And they all just... That's just part of our job, detective. No offense, ma'am, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more hate than... Do they give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. Breaking out the thesaurus on me. I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Serra. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. One sec. I'm getting nervous because it's been a while. I'm going to just save there. Sorry. Do you tell that to your clients? No. But they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. Same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago. We all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedom for safety. Individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged. But they treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. Excuse me. So, if any given individual's too small to ever affect change, so if the public's going to hate us no matter what we do, and if corporations and governments will trample over people the same, regardless of their character, and if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing, what do you do, Adonai? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is, the only moral way to act is, do whatever it takes to win. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. If power's inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Just fight with both barrels, and trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. God, that felt like some Death Note, just... Shit. I'm blaming on the term for the cinematography of it. But that felt like the organization of just the mind games between L and light That was amazing. Toxic Yuri indeed. Okay, now we're at Gatesfield Memorial Hospital. Ugh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. And the next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Chat guy. Must have been due to go on break. He tried and failed to find the witness's medical record. His datapad had the name blacked out. But I did see that they have Caduceus the Executive 3. More expensive than David's. Which means they most likely... How did you do that? You need to hold the button to get the doors closed faster. Mashing does nothing. That is not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Ooh, eyes are sparkling. She's learning. She's learning, Morgan. Of course I have. Treat others how you want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover, it'll always be a gamble. That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down the hall. Bear left. Look for the fourth door. I'm going to open the one that says morgue on it. Oh, gosh, she is beautiful. Like this, I assume it's a tattoo. That's a lot of commitment to go all over. So starting at neck, going around. This arm has it wrapped twice. Presumably this connects up here, so that's third time. Interesting. Oh wait, I just noticed this has like an armored glove look to it, but this one is bare. I like this character so much already. Oh, hey! Come on in. Don't stand out there in the cold would be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. We're going to look at that. She likes accessories, reality TV, and palm reading. Dislikes social media, dress codes, and ebooks. Loves making new playlists, but hates to throw out old clothes. Most proud of my weekly... Wait, actually, I just realized something. Just looking back now, with that conversation about reading people having years of practice, makes me feel like these profiles are just her reading people, which means either she's good enough that these are all accurate, or late in the game, probably not this chapter, there being a mistake in one of these assumptions is going to be very costly. That will be interesting. Yeah, Misato. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. Though I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means... Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And you are... Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Ashur, D. Wait, really? That's weird? I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who... I know. Weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Megs anyway. I gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. That mean there's stuff to read in here? So you have an examine there. And inspect over there. Oh, and a read. We're gonna start with a read. Just get out of the way. What's this? The hospital's getting renamed? No, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital renamed to thank the Ikaria family. I think I'm pronouncing that right. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed to the Northeastern Ikaria Medical Complex in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. It's the latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change, after they paid for the renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. But it wasn't so long ago that the Ikaria were better known for drawing blood than donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Renogen Medical over 25 years ago, and its subsequent sale, the Ikaria have moved out of their business world and into the upper echelons of society, that are sometimes mockingly referred to as the Neobility, a generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century in the Red Decade. When asked her opinion on those who would label her family House Ikaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renogen board member Mirai Ikaria had this to say: "In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves, so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself. And the only ones uncomfortable with that are, we're working hard to print out the rest of your article, character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you'd leave a tip. Want to drop your payment info in the jar?" Fuck. Truly a dystopia to still have ads like that. The Ikaria. Guess they weren't always in that line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a new image. Oh, the Neobility are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. But that must go double for the Ikarias, assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. Okay. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. Excuse me. It's just a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor? Oh, I wish. No, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected. Defective liver mods, suspected. Leaking internal biobatteries, suspected. CCIC. Climate change-induced complications. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% of them the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just... so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. It's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. Fair enough. That's a lot of screens. There's got to be diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. Next you'll be asked about their shoe size. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere, and no one's ever corrected it. And so, boom. I get 4 new monitors every year. God, I wish that were me. Not because I need that many monitors, but I wish there was an error in my favor like that. Do you run out of things to use them for? Sometimes. But this year I started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing road work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do road work. Helps me use up the screens. Fair enough. I see. She finishing up over there? Right, okay. So, what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh, wow. Hi there. Cute android. Didn't even realize it was really cute. The skin is... That's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell. They really are warm. Aw, she's being bashful. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flushed, felt like they were always running a fever. They ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted... Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for... expediency. Right. So, what can I tell you? Cause of death. Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. Got that much figured out at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Ashur died of respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness, followed by dizziness, then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally respiratory arrest. Report shows that the EMTs tried intubation when resuscitation through electrical stimulation repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late. And you're certain of all this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle. And I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show. But he wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. I'm just going to do a quick check to confirm my... to monitor vital signs. Okay, yeah. That's what I assumed. But he was extensively monitored from the moments the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites, nothing in any cavities, nothing at all, huh? On the tox screen? Please mention the tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran tox screen when he first arrived. Typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the tox screen gave them nothing. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So, were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easily. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history. And I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to, and even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So, a designer drug. That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours. Private sector folks? Yeah. In pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later? Yeah. Patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, depending on what country you file in. I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law as your own personal minefield. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formula so no one knows where it's safe to walk. And it'd be small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about. You flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago. And that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back. But for the rest of the field, wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance, something that the hospital could have easily identified if it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. Still, just because the drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of another drug? Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance. One you might know by another name, but with a patented structure. Sorry, sweetie. Hurt. It's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body. They come in all shapes and sizes, from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no. Not without detailed knowledge on its half-life. I guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless then. No. Not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, you ready to view the body? We could skip it, if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right, you'd ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. It came damaged. You wanted to send it back for a refund. Gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. And I kindly offered to throw it out for you, since you're having so much trouble letting it go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though they were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. Expecting something more drastic? The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled, and he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone, and I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder, but I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Jesus. Read the room. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there. I guarantee it. I have seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke here? Now? I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. The hell? How the hell won't this thing light? Adonai. You have your cigarette backwards. Oh. Yes, some people just don't grieve at all, huh? We all grieve in different ways. Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just... It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. So it's organic. But there's a number of metallic elements too. If you had to speculate on its intended use, based on what we know of its structure, well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binded to receptor pathways, affected the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True, people are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Not much you need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience? No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. It's very generous. Rockford's orders have got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. You know, fair enough. Get your green, girl. Glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Serra. Nice to meet you, Serra. God, I hope she pops up again. Maybe not this chapter, but like throughout the game. You're really cool. We already know she tests bodies as side gigs. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory. National headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lock-Kun, Tethys, Neath, I think. Each of them was sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscraper's shadows. Whalefall. The entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Actually, you know what? I think this is a good stopping point. Because we did change scenes, so we'll probably be here a good amount of time. And this is unfortunately 11, the scheduled time for me to head out. So before anything else, we're going to go ahead and drop a save. For next stream, I'll probably go back to the beginning of this segment. But for the moment, actually, we'll leave it here so we can have my little keychain thing a-dangling. Yeah, I did it wrong there. Swing. Swing. There we go. And I'll look for someone to raid into. Alright. Use this tab. Okay, who is currently on? We've got a few options. Ooh, we can go over to Cassiel Aurelius. Another celestial librarian streamer who I'm friends with. Let's make sure it'll let us right in. They're currently playing that Horse Girl racing game that seems to be really picking up as of late. But yeah, they're a good, fun streamer. Really enjoy their stuff when I'm able to catch them live, especially. And they did, unfortunately, miss out on a charity raid train I did with, with Madeline the Alchemist and Snazzy Eddie as 83. Yeah, 83, not 38. So we're gonna head over to them, catch them, as a good little wind-down session. As always, my wonderful tome readers, I hope you guys are eating enough, drinking enough, getting enough sleep. Take care of your bodies so your bodies can take care of you. We will have more of the devil next week. But later this week... Oh, wait. I think I can... Is it still on there, or do I need to... I didn't reactivate. This Friday, I'm doing some art streams on my Discord, which I might record, put on my YouTube. But Sunday, that's right, Sunday, I'll be doing some art in Minecraft. If anyone wants to catch me here, it'll be about the same time period. So I'll see you guys then.